I'm a widowed Omega. I went to a CEO's house to apply for a nanny position, but his son suddenly called me mom. With a wave of his hand, the CEO decisively decided to keep me. Isn't that a little too impulsive? It wasn't until he pinned me to the bed and forcefully flooded my gland with his pheromones that I finally realized. He really did want me to be his son's mom. 01. Hello, are you here for the interview? Ah. Yes, I am. Please wait here for a moment. I sat there nervously, fidgeting with the seam of my pants, feeling completely out of place in this grand hall. Suddenly something tugged at my calf. I looked down and saw an adorable little boy with pale skin and big round eyes clinging to my leg. He must be the CEO's son. I crouched down. Hey, little young master, don't grab my pants, they're dirty. He blinked his bright eyes, staring straight at me. Then, to my shock, he called out in a sweet, clear voice. Mommy! I nearly jumped out of my skin. If his little hand wasn't gripping me, I swear I could have launched myself 8 meters away. Wait, no, don't call me that. Little young master, please. I tried to pull away, but the more I struggled, the tighter he held on. Mommy, you are my mommy. I saw your picture. Oh, come on. I am a widow, sure, but my late husband didn't even live long enough to leave me a child. How could I possibly have a kid that big? I tried reasoning with him. Sweetie, maybe I just look a lot like your mom. But I promise you, I'm really not her. No, he said in his soft, childish voice, you are her. You even smell exactly like my mommy. Just when I was starting to panic, a low, deep male voice came from behind me. Stanley, come here. I turned around to see a tall, striking man leaning against the doorframe, his expression cold and stern. That must be the father. The boy pouted but finally let go of my pants and ran to his dad. Sorry about that, Mitchell said casually as he sat on the sofa. You really do look a lot like my late wife. His black silk robe fell open slightly as he moved, revealing sharp, well-defined muscles. I looked for just 1 second, then quickly averted my eyes. It's all right. Kids make mistakes. Totally understandable, really. I didn't get it wrong. Stanley, enough, Mitchell said coldly, shooting his son a warning look. The alpha pressure he gave off was intense. I couldn't help but think. Wow, this guy really knows how to be a dad. Congrats, you passed the interview. Can you start tomorrow? Of course, no problem at all, huh? I passed. Just like that? Is there a problem? No. I'll definitely be on time tomorrow. Mitchell nodded, giving me a long, meaningful look. That look made my skin crawl a little. It felt like I had just walked into a trap I didn't even see. This whole thing went down way too easily. Could it really be just because I look like his kid's mom? I shook my head hard. That's ridiculous, no way. 02. The next morning, I got up extra early. I packed all my belongings into a single small suitcase. That's everything I owned. A car accident had taken both my husband and my memories. All it left behind was trauma that ran so deep, every time I saw traffic, I'd start trembling uncontrollably and struggling to breathe. Because of that, even though I applied for tons of jobs, I never lasted at any of them. That was until I saw the job posting from Mitchell's family. No traffic, far from the city, quiet surroundings. It was the perfect job. I cherished this rare opportunity. When I arrived at the Mitchell residence, I was surprised to find both the father and son already up, sitting at the dining table eating breakfast. Eric saw me and lit up, kicking his little legs as he ran over. Mommy! Have you had breakfast yet? Not yet, wait. Don't call me mommy again. I was ready to cry and shot a helpless glance at Mitchell. I don't know if it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a flicker of amusement in Mitchell's eyes. Stanley, he called lazily, raising his voice a bit. Then he turned to me, Alan, if you haven't eaten yet, come eat with us. I waved my hands quickly. No, I'm fine. We're going to be living together for quite a while. Mitchell raised a brow. Are you sure you want to keep being so polite with me? All right, then. The moment I sat down to Mitchell's right, Stanley immediately ran over and took the seat to my left. Big one on the right, little one on the left, they had me completely surrounded. The pressure was unreal. I couldn't even taste the food. Maybe it was just me, but I kept catching whiffs of Mitchell's alpha pheromones. It was a very pleasant cedarwood scent. I couldn't help glancing at the back of his neck, where a suppression patch was stuck. But it didn't seem to be working, his scent still leaked out, impossible to ignore. That's a clear sign of a high-ranking alpha. Strangely, I didn't feel uncomfortable or repulsed at all. In fact, I kind of liked it. My face and skin were both starting to feel warm. I quickly stood up and made an excuse. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom. Go ahead. I pulled a small pack of suppression patches from my bag and slapped two firmly onto my own neck. I mean, I can't ask the man of the house to suppress his scent. So I'll just have to be extra cautious myself. Don't want to make a fool of myself. I scooped up 2 handfuls of cold water and splashed my face, trying to cool down the heat. Looking up into the mirror, I saw my cheeks were flushed and my eyes were watery. Seriously, Alan? You're that desperate? Just one alpha shows up and you're reacting this much? 03. I kept splashing cold water on my face to suppress the heat. It finally started to ease a little, and just as I was drying my face with a tissue, there were 2 soft knocks on the door. I quickly called out, "Come in. I noticed you've been in here for a while." Got a little worried, Mitchell said. Is something wrong? Oh, no, not at all. I just got up too early and felt a bit sleepy, so I splashed some water to wake myself up. Mitchell chuckled. I thought maybe you felt too uncomfortable being around us. Although, I could have sworn I smelled something sweet in here. Is that from you? Mitchell sniffed twice. Are you wearing perfume? Or, is that your pheromone scent? This was beyond embarrassing. First day on the job, and I already lost control of my pheromones, and the boss smelled it? I seriously wanted to jump off a building. I scrambled to explain, maybe it's the laundry pods I used, or my body wash. Really? Just being in the same space with Mitchell made the heat I'd managed to suppress surge back up again. Then, Stanley's voice came from outside the bathroom, "Mommy." I practically let out a sigh of relief. I'd better go, the kid's calling me. Mitchell curved his lips into a smile. Looks like Alan's adjusting to the role pretty well. I'm not. You've got it wrong. Mitchell laughed even harder. Was Mitchell teasing me? Of course, I wouldn't dare ask. When I stepped out, Stanley was already wearing his little backpack, standing at the door with perfect posture. He reached out his tiny hand and said, "Mommy, you're taking me to piano class." Mitchell lightly placed his hand on my lower back. "Come on, I'll show you the route. This'll be your job from now on." I took Stanley's soft, chubby hand. It felt warm against my palm and gave me a strange sense of comfort. Mitchell walked on the other side of me. The 3 of us going out together almost looked like a real family. Stop. Don't go there. I forced myself to clear my mind and focus on memorizing the route. Your profile says your husband passed away. Mind if I ask what happened? Mitchell said he was asking politely, but his tone didn't sound the least bit apologetic. A car accident. Did you love him? I had no idea how the conversation ended up there. I was completely confused. But I answered honestly, I don't know. I don't remember anything anymore. I forgot everything about him. I don't even know if I loved him. But maybe I did. I mean, I married him, right? My voice grew softer as I spoke. Not sure why I suddenly felt so unsure of myself. I see. I didn't know if I was imagining it, but Mitchell's tone seemed tinged with regret. We're here. I crouched down in front of Stanley and said gently, be good in class. I'll come pick you up later. Okay, Mommy. Just as I was about to, for the millionth time, tell Stanley to stop calling me Mommy, a soft kiss landed on my cheek. He gave me a big smooch and ran off. I stood there stunned. Mitchell snapped his fingers next to my ear. Earth to Alan. Let's go. Ah, right. 04. Stanley really was an adorable kid. Super well behaved, except for that one thing, he kept calling me Mommy. But I understood. He'd never had a mother, and I just happened to look like her. Once I finally got him to sleep, I stared at his chubby little cheeks, spacing out. I couldn't help but wonder. If I ever had a child, maybe they'd look like Stanley too. Bang! 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 A loud knocking came from the front door. I rushed to close Stanley's door and walked quickly to the entrance. When I opened the door, I was met with the sight of a glamorous-looking Omega, clearly annoyed, struggling to support a dazed Mitchell. What happened to Mitchell? I instinctively reached out to help, but the Omega avoided me with a sidestep. He tilted his chin at me and said, "You're the nanny, right? Go get a glass of water and bring it to Mitchell's room." Ah, okay. And while you're at it. The Omega gave me a smile. Grab a box of condoms. I stood in the kitchen, boiling water, my thoughts in turmoil. The Omega had already taken Mitchell upstairs. I didn't know whether I should actually do what he said. But if he and Mitchell weren't close, why would Mitchell let him take him home like this? Better not stick my nose where it doesn't belong. Just do what I was told. I fumbled around in a drawer and grabbed a random box. Carrying the water, I headed upstairs. I knocked gently on the bedroom door. No one answered for a long time. Don't tell me they already started. Should I just leave? I was still hesitating when the door opened from the inside. I didn't dare look up. I just held out my hand and passed the box inside. The next second, a large hand gripped my wrist and yanked me in. Ah! Caught completely off guard, I stumbled inside. And saw clearly that it was Mitchell who had pulled me. He looked like he had sobered up. At the same time, the glamorous Omega was shoved out the door with force. The door slammed shut and locked, cutting off all his shouting and swearing. "Sir, are you all right?" Half the water had spilled, and I nervously offered him the rest. But Mitchell pulled me again, and I landed right in his arms. Well, there goes the rest of the water. Wife. Mitchell buried his face in the crook of my neck, mumbling over and over, "Wife, wife." I couldn't help reminding him, "Mitchell, look closely. I'm not your dead wife." I made sure to emphasize the word dead. Mitchell didn't seem to hear a word of it. "Wife, I have nothing to do with that Omega. Look, I kicked him out. I hate him, but he keeps throwing himself at me. And he smells terrible. I only like your scent, wife. You smell so good, so good. I'm a very loyal alpha." I honestly couldn't help it, I almost laughed. In the end, I gave up and just played along to soothe him. Okay. I get it. You're the best alpha. 05. The next morning when I opened my eyes, I was still lying in Mitchell's arms, in the same position as last night. My face flushed bright red. Thankfully, Mitchell was still asleep. I quietly slipped out of his room. Once I finished making breakfast, Mitchell came down. He looked completely normal, like nothing had happened. I tried to casually test the waters. "Mitchell, do you remember what happened last night?" Mitchell looked at me. With a half smile, half smirk. "Not really. All I remember is some Omega trying to take advantage of me. And my butler didn't kick him out. I had to handle it myself. Alan, next time, be more careful, okay? Don't let just anyone into our house. Be tougher." He really emphasized the words "just anyone." And I stood there, completely confused. When did I become the butler? Is this normal? 06. Being Mitchell's nanny is definitely not an easy job. I'm not just a nanny, I also have to act as housekeeper, caretaker, and sometimes even as Mitchell's male companion, going with him to fancy cocktail parties. Well, who asked Mitchell to be the boss? No matter how reluctant I feel inside, it doesn't change anything. One weekend, Mitchell took me to get a custom suit made. I stood there awkwardly as the tailor measured me. Suddenly, he asked, "Alan, do you usually wear your watch on your left or right wrist?" I froze for a moment, confused. What? If you wear it on your left, we'll make the left side a bit bigger, if on your right. Stop. My face burned like fire, and I blurted out, "Right side." Okay. I didn't dare look up, but I could hear Mitchell's soft chuckle nearby, clearly amused by my embarrassment. I felt flushed from head to toe. Luckily, this ordeal ended quickly. I lowered my eyes and tugged on Mitchell's sleeve. "Let's go." His lips curled into a smile that wouldn't quite go away. Laughing, huh? Does seeing me embarrassed really amuse you that much? I muttered silently to myself. That Sunday evening, the finished suit was delivered to Mitchell's family home. Standing in front of the mirror, I felt like a plain chicken transformed into a magnificent phoenix. That dizzy, surreal feeling stayed with me all the way into the banquet hall. The moment Mitchell stepped in, nearly every pair of eyes in the room was on him. Alphas, omegas, even betas, everyone was looking. Then their attention shifted to me. I felt like I couldn't even breathe. Mitchell took a half step aside and stood in front of me, blocking most of the gazes. That gave me a chance to catch my breath. Many people tried to approach Mitchell, and I was quickly pushed to the side. But honestly, I didn't mind having some peace and quiet, so I found a corner and quietly ate my meal. Before long, a flushed alpha reeking of alcohol walked up to me. I've never seen Mitchell bring a male companion to a banquet since his wife died. The alpha leaned in close, his gaze clearly hostile. "Who are you to him?" I played dumb, "Just the nanny." "A joke. Mitchell would bring a nanny? You're his dead wife's replacement, right? You really look alike, though I only saw her once. Why don't you quit hanging around Mitchell and come with me? Being someone's substitute is so awkward, especially for a dead woman, right?" I clenched my jaw. "Please show some respect. You little bitch, don't pretend." The alpha reached out to touch me, and I struggled but dared not scream. The next second, my hair was grabbed and slammed hard against the wall. Ugh, ah. I heard glass shatter. When I opened my eyes, it was Mitchell, his face cold and stern, gripping a broken piece of bottle, staring fiercely at the alpha. The alpha lay bleeding on the floor, breathing painfully. "Mitchell, you're crazy. How many lives do you have, daring to lay a hand on my people?" 07. The scene turned chaotic. The smell of blood mixed with pheromones irritated the eyes of many alphas present, including Mitchell. I saw signs he was about to lose control, so I quickly stepped forward and held him tightly. "Mitchell, stop fighting. Please, stop. Mitchell." Instinctively, I released a bit of omega pheromones, trying to calm him down. I didn't know why I did that, it could be dangerous, but right then, I didn't care. To my surprise, it worked. Mitchell calmed down miraculously. He lowered his hand and leaned against me weakly. I immediately called the driver to pick us up and take us home. On the way, Mitchell pressed his face to my neck and sniffed hard. He clung to me like a koala, mumbling, "Wife, wife." I froze all over and didn't dare move. When we got home, I frantically searched for some alpha suppressant pills in a drawer. But as soon as I stepped away from Mitchell for a moment, he grabbed me and pulled me back. My limbs were tightly held down as Mitchell pinned me to the sofa, his eyes fierce. "Don't run. Don't leave me. If you leave me again, I'll lock you to the bed so you can't escape." I shivered but tried to soothe him gently. "I'm not running. I just wanted to find you some suppressant pills. You'll feel better, okay?" No. Mitchell gripped my wrist and moved downward. I instantly stiffened all over. If you help it, I'll feel better. Tears shimmered in Mitchell's eyes. This mighty alpha looked almost pitiful right then. I want you to help me. 08. I wiped the water off my hands, glanced back at Mitchell who had already fallen asleep, then fled in panic. Oh my God, Alan, what have you done? They clearly see you as a substitute, his dead wife's substitute. What the hell have you gotten yourself tangled up in? The more I thought about it, the crazier I felt. I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. The next morning, I nervously went downstairs. Mitchell was gone. I sighed in relief. For the next few days, I purposely avoided Mitchell. I finished cooking before he came back, then took Stanley to his room to help with homework. Thank goodness for Stanley, otherwise, things would be way too awkward and uncomfortable. Mommy, did you have a fight with Daddy recently? I paused, surprised a child could be so perceptive. No, don't think too much about it. Daddy really likes you. When you weren't here, he often secretly cried while holding your photo. I saw it many times. A dull ache suddenly welled up in my heart for no reason. Is that so? Mitchell loved his late wife deeply, no doubt about that. And me, Alan, at best, I'm just a cheap replacement. But even a cheap replacement has feelings. I felt lost and hurt. Mommy, please don't fight with Daddy anymore, okay? I didn't really hear him and just mumbled, okay. 09. After hiding from Mitchell for who knows how many days, he finally lost patience and caught me. Alan, what exactly are you running from? I used my best skill again, playing dumb. I'm not hiding. That night was my fault. I was out of it, so I let you do those things. I get that you're embarrassed and want to avoid me. But you can't hide from me forever, right? He admitted it. That night he was confused and mistook me for someone else. My body shivered involuntarily. So cheap, so disgusting. I gagged a little. Mitchell's expression suddenly tightened with concern. Alan, what's wrong? I pushed his hand away and shook my head. Nothing. How much of his concern was really for the real Alan? I didn't want to degrade myself any further. Mitchell, I have a request. What? I don't think I'm cut out for this job. I want to quit. 10. What? Two voices, one big and one small, shouted in unison. Mitchell frowned. Alan, what don't you like? Tell me. There's nothing I dislike. I looked at him calmly. But I think you know the reason. His frown deepened. I've already apologized to you. Not that. I glanced at Stanley, then back at Mitchell. Taking a deep breath, I decided to be honest. I hope you can move on from your late wife's shadow soon. I know you hired me because I look a lot like her. But fake can never be real. I don't want to be anyone's substitute. And Stanley, even a child has the right to know the truth. You can't keep hiding it from him forever. I said a lot in one breath. Probably the most I'd ever spoken to Mitchell since I started working here. Mitchell, fate brought us together. I hope you take care going forward. With that, I turned to pack my things. Stanley threw himself on the floor and grabbed my leg, crying loudly. Mommy, don't go. Didn't you promise me you'd never fight with Daddy again? Why did you lie? You're a liar, Mommy. I squatted down firmly and gently pulled Stanley's arms off. Stanley, I'll say it one last time. I'm really not your mom. Even though I do like you. From the first time I met Stanley, I felt inexplicably warm and happy inside. I turned to leave, but Mitchell sneered behind me. The complicated feelings in his eyes were gone, replaced by his usual careless expression. Did I give you permission to leave? 11. Mitchell, you. Alan, didn't you read the contract carefully when you signed it? He pulled a document from the drawer and showed it to me. You can look it over again now. If you can afford the penalty, you can leave whenever you want. I stared at it, my heart turning cold. Oh my God. Oh my God. The breach of contract penalty, 1 million. They'd sell me and still not cover it. My fingers trembled slightly as the paper slipped from my grasp and floated to the floor. Still leaving? My lips quivered. I gave up. Mitchell was no fool, he never made a losing deal. I didn't understand why he insisted on keeping me here as his nanny. Maybe it was because I was too visually valuable. Anyway, after staying, Mitchell seemed to stop pretending. He started ordering me around without restraint. Every little thing had to be done personally by me. He'd call my name constantly, like a giant baby. Honestly, Stanley was more mature than him. The blanket's too cold. Can you warm me up inside? Fine, I endured it. Blowing my hair is tiring. Alan, blow it for me. I grabbed his silky black hair, really wanting to pull it all out. I want mommy to sleep with me too. After that night, Stanley gave me the cold shoulder for 3 days, then suddenly made up, even more clingy than before. With one big and one small to deal with, I really wished I could split myself in two to give each of them one half. No, Stanley. He's my wife, not yours. You'll have your own wife to sleep with someday. Stanley pouted and almost cried again. Huh, cry when you can't win. Cry all day long, who's going to like you then? Mitchell's words were brutal. He was only good at making the kid cry, and I had to comfort him afterward. I shot Mitchell a glare. What are you fighting with the kid for? Stanley, go to your room. I'll tell you a bedtime story. Yay! I ignored Mitchell's resentful look from behind me. Alan, remember to come back. I want my bedtime service too. That nerve, unbelievable. I rolled my eyes silently and didn't answer. 12. As the weather got colder, Stanley's vacation started, and he was so excited, constantly yelling to go see the snow. City A was in the south, it almost never snowed. Mitchell made the decision, we leave tomorrow for City F. I was shocked. So soon? Didn't you see how he was? He can't wait a second. Mitchell smiled warmly. Besides, you've been tired all year. Go relax a bit. If only you'd let me go earlier, would I be this exhausted? I muttered inside. Mitchell was sharp as ever. Are you secretly insulting me? I looked innocent. No. It's okay. Say it out loud. I don't mind. I turned my face away. Crazy. The next morning, Stanley was still asleep. I fought sleepiness to dress him and pack everything for the plane. I closed my eyes on the plane, and after a nap, we had arrived in City F. It was snowing there, and Stanley was ecstatic, his little hands never stopping catching snowflakes. The local kids were friendly, and Stanley quickly joined them, having a snowball fight. I watched quietly from the side. Looking at Stanley's bright smile, I suddenly thought, maybe living like this for a lifetime wouldn't be so bad. But Stanley, be careful. Some kids didn't know their own strength and started pushing each other during the snowball fight. I frowned. Stanley was sensitive to cold, wearing thick clothes that made moving hard. If he fell, it would be terrible. Just as I thought this, my pupils suddenly shrank. Before my brain could react, my body dashed forward instinctively. Careful. I reached out to protect Stanley's head from hitting a flower bed but slipped myself, smashing my head against a stone wall. Everything went black and I felt nauseous. Mommy, mommy. 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 I heard Stanley crying, blurry in and out of consciousness. I saw Mitchell running quickly toward me. Amid the cries, my brain felt like it was splitting apart, countless fragments of memories rushed in like a tide. 13. My name is Alan, and I am Mitchell's late wife. I have a scar on my abdomen, which I once thought was from a car accident. But actually, it's a mark left after I gave birth to Stanley, a mother's mark. I'm not a substitute. I am who I am. No wonder Mitchell's family's job posting appeared on my phone. No wonder I never understood the way Mitchell looked at me. No wonder he wouldn't let me leave. No wonder Stanley always calls me Mom. Everything Mitchell did was for me. I opened my eyes. All I saw was white snow outside, and the steady sound of a beep beep in my ears. I moved my fingers. The next moment, Mitchell's and Stanley's faces appeared in my view, one big, one small. Both looked equally disheveled, eyes red-rimmed. Tears fell drop by drop onto me, soaking my hospital gown. I opened my mouth and smiled without meaning to. I mouthed to Mitchell. Thank you for everything. To endure so much alone, to do so much for me, truly, thank you. 14. My memory fully returned, the blood clot in my brain finally cleared. Mitchell washed my clothes and cooked for me every day, massaged my feet and shoulders. So happy. So, if I never regain my memory this lifetime, are you planning to trap me with a contract forever? First, my wife, you can't not regain your memory, it's only a matter of time. I already checked with the doctors. Mitchell spoke seriously. That fall was a blessing in disguise, it helped you recover early. Besides, if you remembered nothing, how could I make you my wife? I couldn't just tie you up and lock you at home. You'd hate me once you were clear-headed. Mitchell looked pitiful. Don't think I don't know you really thought about that. During the sensitive phase. My mouth took over my brain, and all truths came spilling out. But I didn't do it, how could I? Mitchell grinned cheekily. Besides, even if you lose your memory once, I'm confident I can make you fall in love with me again. I felt my face warm slightly. Mitchell was right in one way. He really had the power to make my heart flutter repeatedly. Mommy, I won't play in the snow anymore. Ah, almost forgot Stanley. It's not your fault. I patted Stanley's head. If it weren't for you, Mommy wouldn't have remembered so quickly. Sorry, my baby. Stanley softly rested on me, kissing my cheek non-stop. At last, I could comfortably enjoy Stanley's affection. But Mitchell wasn't happy. Stop kissing. She's my wife. Stanley clung tighter. My mom. My wife. My mom. My wife. My ears hurt. 15. A month later, my body was fully healed. Mitchell said he wanted to take me to see his father. He's not my father. Mitchell's expression was cold. My real father died long ago. This man is a substitute. What do you mean? You'll see once you meet him. In the psychiatric ward, the man before us was gaunt and skeletal, but his features still bore some familiar resemblance. He looks a lot like my father, right? Who would have thought this substitute was made by my uncle? Mitchell laughed bitterly. Even I didn't notice. So the car accident was their doing? Yeah. They wanted me dead but failed. If I survive, then they're the ones who should die. The old man heard our noise and slowly turned his head. He rasped, "Little beast. Little beast. The little beast is here to see you, with my wife and child." Mitchell smirked. My family's happy and complete. Look at you, all your life wasted in this mental hospital. I won't kill you. Sometimes living is worse than dying. When you threatened Alan's life, you should have thought of this. Father. Chains clanked as the man angrily struck them inside the room. But it was all futile. Holding Mitchell's and Stanley's hands, I left all the shadows of the past behind. 16. After returning, Mitchell looked noticeably downcast. Though in front of enemies he acted like a victorious peacock, with me he was wilted and defeated. I released some Omega pheromones to comfort him. What's wrong? Feeling down? No. Mitchell turned and hugged me silently. I'm just scared. I keep having nightmares about the accident, watching you being taken away again and again. I can't save you or do anything. Just thinking about it makes me hate and fear it. Even seeing them so fallen now, I'm afraid the past will repeat. I opened my mouth and bit down hard on Mitchell's gland. I bit deep, but he only groaned softly and let me do it. How is it? Feeling clearer? I'm alive and well now. Why keep thinking such unlucky things? Are you cursing me? No. I love you, Mitchell. I cupped his face sincerely. I love you, I love you. I'll say it every day, okay? Mitchell lowered his eyes. I always can't control my dark feelings. I feel the outside world is dangerous and want to lock you inside, keep you in bed. Like this. I watched as Mitchell took a chain from a hidden drawer by the bed. Then, gently locked it around my wrist. This feels nice. Feels like only this way I can be at ease. My wrist twitched uncontrollably. I had to summon all my willpower not to curse this pervert silently. In my mind, I repeated, Mitchell has PTSD. Mitchell feels insecure. As his wife, I should tolerate him, bullshit. I kicked him. Take it off now. Mitchell took off his shirt and pinned me down. Just one night, okay? Do this for me, wife. My heart softened for a moment. Fine, one night. That night, I regretted it bitterly. Mitchell was like a starving beast, trying to make up for all the lost years. Alpha pheromones with the scent of cypress filled every corner of the room. If any alpha or omega had walked in, they probably would have passed out immediately. Damn it, if I agree to you again. I'm a dog. Mitchell's reply was to mark me again, deeply biting into my gland. He kissed my tear-streaked face. Wife, I love you. I'll love you forever. Bonus, the car accident. Blood. All over, just blood. Mitchell struggled to open his blurry eyes. The pain made him flicker between consciousness and unconsciousness. Alan. Alan. He tried to speak, but it was as if his throat was clogged with blood, not a sound came out. Just moments ago, when the car that caused the accident came head-on, Mitchell instinctively turned the steering wheel toward himself. But in a flash, Alan grabbed the steering wheel and fiercely turned it away. It was this move that kept Mitchell barely conscious. But Alan's condition was unclear, and not good. He tried to reach out, but the car door was violently thrown open. Alan, like a wounded bird with broken wings, was forcefully dragged out of the car. No, don't take my wife away. Don't take my baby away. No, no, no. Huff. Mitchell suddenly jolted awake, gasping for air. He instinctively reached to the arm of the person beside him, thankfully, still warm, still alive. In his hazy state, Alan asked. Another nightmare? Yeah. Come here. I'll hold you to sleep. Mitchell smiled, then nestled close into his wife's arms like a big bird finding comfort. The omega pheromones lingering at his nose chased away the chill the nightmare left behind. Alan had arranged for many therapists for Mitchell, but none seemed very effective, only minimal results. Gradually, Alan noticed. Mitchell was very insecure about his absence. From long business trips to just a simple supermarket run. Even if Mitchell didn't say it, Alan could feel it. So whenever Alan was out, he frequently video-called Mitchell. They had stumbled through more than a decade together, yet still clung to each other like newlyweds. Mitchell knew Alan was trying in his own way to give him peace of mind. But sometimes, some shadows were like worms attached to the bone, hard to get rid of. Until, another spring came. With the spring came the baby in Alan's belly. Stanley had been loudly demanding a little sister. And his wish really came true. The newborn was a girl, an omega, with eyes very much like Alan's. Mitchell adored her dearly. The arrival of this child strangely soothed Mitchell's restless heart. Year after that. No more nightmares haunted them.